Now at 7 on WKYT this morning, an unexpected discovery may be the answer a Central Kentucky family has been waiting for. State police are investigating after a body was found in Clark County. Those details straight ahead.
Plus, an Owsley County woman has been released from jail 3 months after police say she killed her parents. We'll find out why coming up.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good Saturday morning to you. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Michelle Chamberlain.
And I'm Sean Moody. It is a WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day, so let's get a check of your forecast with meteorologist Mike Linden.
It is a WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day once again, and the reason for it being is that we are looking at thunderstorms bringing with it heavy rain, which could potentially lead to some flash flooding again here in the bluegrass. We key in first on central and northern Kentucky, where right now storms are pushing through the Harrison County, Robertson County area. These are moving pretty quickly, but regardless, you can see that these storms aren't really all that much. But as they work their way over the counties, they are quickly becoming thunderstorms. They're growing as they're pushing eastward. We look at southern Kentucky right now, close to the Columbia and Adair County area, moving toward Lake Cumberland. Some thunderstorms beginning to pop up and push their way eastward. That's going to continue to be the case today as a cold front cuts its way across the bluegrass and bringing with it that unsettled air necessary for thunderstorm development. We look to our west as well, low pressure bringing in more of the heavy rainfall, and that is going to potentially lead to some local high water issues. So we will continue to track the storms all morning and all day long as the potential for flash flooding remains pretty high for quite a few areas. I'll show you where those areas are, and those that are at greatest risk coming up in about 10 minutes.
Mike, thank you. Family and friends of a missing northern Kentucky couple will search for them again today in Clark County.
A death investigation is already underway. The remains of a body were found over an embankment of Goshen Road. Now, that's not far from Interstate 64 east of Winchester. WKYT's Mike Byers at our live desk this morning with details. Mike?
Kentucky State Police out of Columbia say they are hopeful the body is connected to a missing couple who police say was murdered. Clark County Sheriff says it looks like the remains have been there for some time. He also said it appears to be an adult, but he could not give any more details because the body was so decomposed. Kentucky State Police have taken over the investigation. They're also handling the investigation into the disappearance of Bobby Jones and Crystal Warner. Their bodies have not been found. Police have not confirmed the body is connected to the couple, but family and friends think that the body found is Jones.
I'm sure that it is. I just wanted to tell my mom that I told her we'd find him. I just want us to make sure we find Crystal too, because I know Bob would want that.
The family is still waiting on confirmation that the body found is Jones. Police say they think the couple was killed last month in Washington County. Police have charged Craig Pennington with their murders. Now the family says they'll start searching again for Crystal Warner in Clark County today. They say they got reports the couple's car was spotted there. State police don't expect a positive identification on the body until next week. At the live desk, Mike Byer, WKYT.
3 months after police say she killed her parents, an Owsley County woman has been released from jail. Police charged Lynette McQuinn with 2 counts of murder, and a judge set a $1 million bond. But a grand jury did not indict her within a 60-day period, as Kentucky law requires. So a judge ordered McQuinn to be released from jail. A family that lives near the home where McQuinn's parents lived says she showed up at their home and asked where her parents were.
She was still in her jail outfit. As soon as I realized, we were both extremely nervous.
The Commonwealth's Attorney's Office would not comment on why McQuinn wasn't indicted within 60 days, but she's still facing charges, and her case can still be sent to another grand jury.
Voters in a small Perry County city will decide this November whether or not it should be dissolved. A petition to dissolve VICO was presented to the Perry County Clerk earlier this week, and county leaders say there were enough signatures on it to put the issue on the ballot. The city's mayor says some people in VICO feel like they're not getting enough services for the amount of taxes they're paying.
You still feel like you've not done something right if so many people want, to dissolve the city, but then you got to think of what their reasoning is behind it.
The mayor says the city will lose a lot if it's dissolved. If that happens, all assets of the city will become the property of the Perry County Fiscal Court.
The Kentucky Cabinet for Health and Family Services has filed an emergency suspension order to close a Lexington daycare. Now, we've learned that an order has been sent to the owner of Precious Jewels Schools of Excellence, suspending their license. The cabinet started investigating the daycare after getting a report that a child had been left in the daycare's van for hours. Police say the daycare was supposed to drop that child off at the mother's house on Wednesday afternoon. The daycare owner found the child alone in the van parked outside the daycare around 2 a.m. on Thursday. The daycare will remain closed until the investigation is complete.
Today you can test drive a new car and help some animals here in Lexington. For every BMW test drive today from 9:30 this morning to 4:30 this afternoon, Don Jacobs BMW will donate $25 to the Lexington Humane Society. It's all part of the BMW Drive for a Cause event. The Humane Society will also have some of their animals at the event that you can see, pet, or maybe take home with you. You can stop by for a test drive today at the Don Jacobs BMW on Nicholasville Road. All right, 7:07 now on your Saturday. There's plenty ahead here on WKYT this morning.
DC's new Suicide Squad could set records this weekend at the box office. We'll see a preview still ahead on WKYT this morning.
And Rubber Ducky, you're the one. You make setting world records so much fun. We've got that story after Mike's forecast.
And it is a WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day. I'm tracking the potential for flash flooding in the bluegrass today. I'll show you what areas are at highest risk coming up. It is a WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day as thunderstorms get set to pound the bluegrass once again. You wouldn't think that by looking at what we're seeing right now, but believe me, we haven't really seen these storms over the past couple of hours. They're popping up out of seemingly nothing. Still not exactly bringing the heavy downpours, but this is just the start of what looks to be an active day. Right now, pushing through the Robertson County area as well as Harrison County. If you're heading to Walking Dead Day in Cynthiana, be sure to bring that umbrella with you just in case, or that jacket, especially if you're going full on with all of the Walker makeup and anything like that. Just be sure that you're protected, because you don't want all of your hard work to go to waste. We look at southern Kentucky. Right now, moving through Adair County and pushing toward Lake Cumberland is a little thunderstorm off on its own there, and this is what we're going to find as our day rolls on. We're going to see these thunderstorms that are kind of disorganized right now, and then eventually, as we get into our afternoon today, start to fill out a little bit. Now, right now, not seeing any severe thunderstorms or anything like that, although strong storms are likely to work their way into Kentucky as high pressure sits off to our west and works its way into the bluegrass as we get into our afternoon today. Now, as far as where we're going to find the heavy rainfall here in the hour by hour, you'll see that as we get into the middle of our day today, that swath of moisture across central Kentucky basically sets up out of essentially nothing. That's because the air right now is very humid. It's just asking for thunderstorm development. And that's what we'll find as we head into our afternoon today. That's cutting across Jefferson County, eastward through Fayette County, Clark County, and pushing eastward along 64. This is around 3, 4 o'clock today. As we get into the second half of our day, notice as this swath moves south and plants itself over south and southeastern Kentucky. These are the areas that on Thursday saw several inches of rain in a short period of time. Now, if we tack on a little bit more, that could cause for some issues here moving forward. That is why we are under a First Alert Severe Weather Day, because of that flash flood potential. As we get into our Sunday, that's when the cooler air behind this front takes over for most of us. Notice that it takes the cloud cover away. It essentially pushes the rainfall into Tennessee and right along the fringes of the mountains. That's our Sunday, looking and feeling a lot better out there for you. Monday, we're right back to the storm potential as the clouds return, as the humidity begins to ramp up, and the thunderstorms do as well. As far as today goes, the flash flood threat is at highest risk for the counties here in red. That includes Pulaski County, Laurel County, Rockcastle, Madison, and even the southern edge of Woodford and Jessamine counties. That's as we get into our afternoon and evening. The risk gets lesser as you head more northward. That does include spots like Scott and Fayette County. Now, flooding, easily the biggest impact out of what we're going to find from these thunderstorms today. Heavy downpours at times, could certainly produce some localized flash flooding, certainly something to watch out for here moving forward. Sunday, again, a brief break from the active weather, but we're right back at it on Monday with your run-of-the-mill summer thunderstorms. But keep your eye on Tuesday and Wednesday as we are looking at the potential for a little system in the Gulf of Mexico trying to spin up some tropical moisture. That could make things very wet toward the second half of next week. And it's certainly been a quiet season so far for the tropics, and we are going to have to closely monitor that next week.
I'm happy just to look at Sunday.
You know,
It's nice to get a break.
one more thing that Kentucky needs, right? Tropical moisture again. So, you know,
It's coming.
That's what we're
It's
watching.
August. It's going to happen, I
right.
guess. Thanks a lot, Mike.
So it's not something you see every day, and it definitely won't fit in your bathtub or really even your house.
Yeah, this is Mama Duck. She is the world's largest rubber duck, measuring 61 feet tall. Look how she's just dwarfing that tent, and 50 feet around. She's in Green Bay, Wisconsin's Fox River for the Tall Ship Festival. And she's not always this big, though. It takes about 2.5 hours to inflate her. It's a big rubber duck.
I was going to say we should put a pole in the back of the WKYT studio.
We have a big rubber duck back there. That could be our mascot.
This mic covers his face. Come on, we need a rubber duck here, right?
We need a mascot. 7:15 now on your Saturday morning.
So, David Bowie's final album, Black Star, is up for a major award. We'll have that plus your morning Hollywood headlines coming up on WKYT this morning.
Welcome back. Looks like Hollywood has at least one more summer blockbuster this year, even if it's not getting a lot of love from the critics.
Yeah, and even after our favorite singers die, their music lives on. David Daniel has that plus more in the morning Hollywood headlines.
I want to build a team of some very bad people who I think can do some good.
Let's play.
Come on, got some better too?
Good, bad, and better get all mixed up this weekend, courtesy of Suicide Squad. The DC Comics flick about villains recruited for a Dirty Dozen-style mission is getting eviscerated by the critics, but that may not matter. Box office watchers are predicting Will Smith, Margot Robbie, and the gang could pull in $140 million or more, which would easily be the biggest August debut ever.
Can I just pick out a cat and then I'll be on my way?
He likes you.
Yeah, keep the change.
Okay, Cass.
I'm sorry?
Let's do this. So, how you doing in there?
Wait a minute. I'm a cat! For a real change of pace, there's 9 Lives. Kevin Spacey, Christopher Walken, and Jennifer Garner star in the family comedy about a billionaire businessman who finds himself feeling feline. Despite the big names, furcasters don't see this tale topping $10 million this weekend.
But I hate cats. Something happened on the day he died. Spirit rose a meter and stepped aside.
David Bowie's Black Star, released just days before his shocking death in January, is up for a major award. It's a finalist for Britain's prestigious Mercury Music Prize as Album of the Year. The winner is set to be announced September 15th. Rebel Wilson is all about the remakes. The comic actress was already set to play the Goldie Hawn role in a new take on the comedy Private Benjamin. Now Wilson is set to star in a gender-swapped remake of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, about rival con artists who team up for one big scam. Angelina Jolie Pitt doesn't seem to be so big on remakes. Variety reports the Oscar winner has passed on starring in Ken Branagh's new version of the Agatha Christie classic, Murder on the Orient Express. Sequels, however, are another story. Jolie is on board to return in Maleficent 2, currently in development. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
All right, 7:50 or 7:20 rather on your Saturday morning. There's still more to come.
Sports is coming up next.
It is a WKYT First Alert severe weather day. Once again, thunderstorms could lead to some flash flooding, much like we saw a few days ago here in the Commonwealth, especially in southern and southeastern Kentucky. Right now, this is what Defender looks like, mainly looking at these storms to the north and to the south of Kentucky. Right now, moving through the Harrison County area, moving across the northern edge of the state, moving pretty quick, might I add, as well. But these storms, about an hour or two ago, weren't even here, so they're bubbling out of seemingly nothing and tracking their way eastward. Right now, looking at Columbia and Adair County, moving toward Lake Cumberland. Some thunderstorms trying to fire up along the southern edge. These are very small right now, bear in mind. As we get into the afternoon, this cold front is going to continue to work its way eastward, and that is going to trigger these stronger and a bit larger thunderstorms. We look off to our west. That's where the bulk of the action is, still over the Kansas and Oklahoma area, but that will continue to track its way eastward and bring with it a lot of moisture. The areas of greatest risk look to be southern and southeastern Kentucky, because as you'll see here on the hour by hour, not seeing much now, but into the afternoon that's going to change. A swath of moisture sets up across the state from west to east and works its way south. Pretty much plants itself there, moving into the evening hours. So this will be the area of greatest risk, south of I-64, and that includes Clay County, an area that saw some flash flooding just a few days ago. Looks like local high water issues will once again be an issue for this region. Sports is up next.
The football Wildcats hosted Media Day on Friday, and among the topics of discussion was a conversation that Coach Mark Stoops had on Thursday night with his team and staff. Now, after reporting to campus on Thursday, the players and the coaches met on Thursday night to discuss the upcoming fall camp and season. As several who were in attendance put it, Stoops was fiery and motivating.
If you weren't excited and you didn't have goosebumps, and then you don't need to be in this sport. You just didn't need to be in there. Because I was at the edge of my seat. I was ready to go. It's real. It's time.
He was getting pretty passionate up there, and it was exciting and everything, but you also don't want to make him mad and smile or something, because it's like, yes, sir, you got it.
At 350 pounds, Matt Elam isn't only the heaviest player on the UK football roster, he's the heaviest in the entire SEC, and that's after dropping some weight this summer. I caught up with the Elizabethtown, Kentucky native yesterday at Media Day. Matt Elam is large and in charge, but since arriving on UK's campus 2 years ago, there's been more talk about his weight than his play.
I feel like I got to change that. I just got to play better, and then I start talking about my gameplay more. So I finally, got to the weight that I want to be, so that should be straight. Elam, who played at 375 or 380 pounds last year, says he's down to around 350 pounds now. And he plans to shed another 10 to 15 lbs by the end of camp. I'll be here every single day, about 3 times a day, just working out whenever I can, And the eating right part, it came easy when I just kept working out, so just kept shedding weight easy. And less weight equals more mobility. Just move better, just be able to stay in longer, you make more plays, better, so.
But he's played some very good football for us. He needs to be more consistent with the weight loss, with playing more and being lighter on his feet and playing more snaps. That'll help all of us, so, but he's done well.
Now a junior, Elam is in line to assume a starting role at defensive tackle, something that has made him focus more on getting in shape. It is me, it's my position. I'm not behind anybody, so I just play and, just going to, I'm the starter. I got to go in there. I got to face that person first. It's definitely a change, but I like the change. And a lot is expected of that young man this year. Him and the entire Wildcats started football practice yesterday. They'll have fan day later today, and the Wildcats will have a chance to meet all of their fans, and then another practice on the practice field. That's a look at your morning sports. Have a great day.
Now at 7:30 on WKYT this morning, state police are investigating after a body was found along a Clark County road, and the family of a missing Northern Kentucky murder victim thinks that body could be his.
Plus, 2 different Clay County officials are facing charges after a grand jury indictment. The details coming up.
And it's Walking Dead Day in Cynthiana. We'll take a closer look at the Kentucky creation ahead on WKYT this morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday. I'm Sean Moody.
And I'm Michelle Chamberlain. It's a WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day. Let's get a check now with our forecast with meteorologist Mike Linden.
We are looking at the potential for flash flooding as we get into our afternoon today, thanks to thunderstorms once again working their way through the bluegrass. But just by looking at Defender right now, you wouldn't think that we are looking at the potential for some severe weather out there today. But what we are finding is thunderstorm development here early in the morning. These storms were not here about an an hour or so ago, but now tracking their way through the bluegrass pretty quickly, moving through Harrison and Robertson counties right now to the north, pretty much along the Kentucky-Ohio line. We are looking at those thunderstorms. To the south, some storms starting to fire up as well. This tiny little storm here working its way through Adair County, pushing eastward toward Russell Springs. Nothing really to shake your head at just yet, but as we get into the afternoon, this cold front working its way through the bluegrass is going to kick off those thunderstorms. You're essentially going to see nothing becoming something in a hurry. There's plenty of moisture working its way eastward, and with it, we are going to see that thunderstorm development moving into the middle of our day today. But coming up, I'll show you which areas of the bluegrass are at greatest risk for flash flooding. That's all coming up in about 10 minutes.
Mike, thank you. Family and friends of a missing northern Kentucky couple will search for them again today in Clark County.
A death investigation is already underway after the remains of a body were found over an embankment off Goshen Road, not far from Interstate 64, just east of Winchester. WKYT's Mike Myers at our live desk this morning with details. Mike?
Kentucky State Police out of Columbia say they're hopeful the body is connected to a missing couple who police say was murdered. The Clark County Sheriff says it looks like the remains have been there for some time. He also said it appears to be an adult, but he could not give any more details because the body was so decomposed. Kentucky State Police have taken over the investigation. They're also handling the investigation into the disappearance of Bobby Jones and Crystal Warner. Their bodies have not been found. Police have not confirmed the bodies connected to the couple, but friends think the body found is Jones, and the family will finally have some closure.
I'm sure that it is. I just wanted to tell my mom that I told her we'd find him. I just want us to make sure we find Crystal too, because I know Bob would want that.
The family is still waiting on confirmation that the body found is Jones. Police say they think the couple was killed last month in Washington County. Police have charged Craig Pennington with their murders. Now the family says they'll start searching for Crystal Warner in Clark County today. They say they got reports the couple's car was spotted there. State police don't expect a positive identification on the body found until next week. At the live desk, Mike Byer, WKYT.
Thank you, Mike. We are learning more about a violent burglary at a Lexington home. Police say a man broke into a home on Dogwood Drive, asked the elderly woman inside for money, then stabbed her. The burglar got away and the woman was taken to the hospital. Lexington police say they have questioned David Williams in connection to this case. Police arrested Williams for unrelated charges. According to his arrest citation, police say he also broke into his father's house on Hanson Circle off of Georgetown Street and stole $20. State police are investigating a deadly stabbing in Lee County. The Lee County coroner tells us the body of Billy Rourke was found on Hell Creek Road. Troopers believe Rourke was stabbed to death. They are investigating his death as a homicide. Troopers tell us they found an abandoned car about a half a mile from where he was found. They were working to see if the car is involved with the case. Police have not made any arrests.
A grand jury has indicted the Clay County Judge Executive and the county's road foreman. Police arrested Judge Executive Joe Asher and Road Foreman Buford Jarvis. They were indicted on 9 charges, including abuse of public trust and bribery. Investigators say the 2 men used public money and equipment to do work on people's homes while still billing them.
These monies were never turned in, and even if the monies had been turned in, the county cannot use public equipment that's owned by the government to do private jobs.
Now, Asher's family claims he was set up and he did nothing wrong. An arraignment date has not been set.
Lexington police hope some surveillance pictures will help them find a suspected jewelry store thief. Police say the pictures were taken at Farmers Jewelry on Euclid Avenue last Friday. They say the woman seen here switched out a necklace she had been wearing with a white gold necklace the store was selling. Police say the woman left the store before anyone noticed, and they say the stolen necklace is worth about $1,000. Kentucky's U.S. Senate candidates will make their first appearance together today at the Fancy Farm political picnic. Republican U.S. Senator Rand Paul and Democratic Lexington Mayor Jim Gray are scheduled to face the crowds. This will be Gray's first appearance at Fancy Farm. The mayor of Kentucky's second largest city is making his first bid for statewide office. Meanwhile, Paul, who is finishing up his first term in the U.S. Senate, is a Fancy Farm veteran.
Kentucky's famous for its horses, bourbon, and basketball, but now the Commonwealth is being recognized for another creation. Today is Walking Dead Day, and Cynthiana, the creator and the original artist of the Walking Dead graphic novel series, are both Cynthiana natives and are expected to be at today's event. There will also be costume and trivia contests, plus interactive shuttle tours. It all starts at 10 o'clock this morning and runs, well, we should say walks, until 6 p.m. The event is free, but there might be some costs for some of the activities.
So schools across the Commonwealth are getting ready to open, and here in Lexington, we got to look at a brand new school. The new Garrett Morgan Elementary School is in the Hamburg area off of Polo Club Boulevard. Principal Sarah Woodford tells us they have had people from the neighborhood help them set up.
We've unloaded at this point over 10,000 boxes. We've unpacked 10,000 boxes in this building, and it took truly, I mean, they say it takes a village, and it does.
There's another new school opening up. Coventry Oak Elementary School is on Huntley Place off of Georgetown Road. School in Fayette County starts August 10th. On WKYT.com, we have a list of school start dates for several public school districts around central Kentucky.
Not all superheroes wear capes or even have superpowers. Some superheroes just simply go to elementary school. Today in Nicholasville, the Child Care Network is giving away school supplies for some super kids. The giveaway runs from 10 o'clock this morning to 1 o'clock this afternoon. You can see the address there on your screen.
And today is UK football's annual Fan Day. Doors open at 9 at Nutter Fieldhouse for an autograph session with the team that ends at 10:15. Now, there is a limit of 1 autograph per person. UK is asking fans not to pose for pictures with coaches or players. Fans can watch practice at the new practice facility from 11 to 12:30, and fans are asked to park in the blue lot adjacent to Commonwealth Stadium.
Time is 7:38 on your Saturday, and still plenty ahead here on WKYT this morning.
A Louisville coffee shop is changing the way people enjoy coffee. We'll take a look at the secret behind Good Folks Coffee after Mike's forecast.
And it is a WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day. I'm tracking the potential for flash flooding. When we come back, I'll show you the areas of Kentucky at greatest risk for that flash flooding into the afternoon. The weekend started with a WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day. Right now, by looking at Defender, you wouldn't think that there's very much going on out there. There really isn't. But as we get into the middle of our day today, a lot of nothing will quickly turn into something. We're seeing a little something this morning, especially in northern Kentucky, where thunderstorms continue to work their way through the bluegrass. These have already moved through Harrison County, through Robertson County, and now into Fleming County. Not necessarily the large-scale thunderstorms that we're used to seeing here in the bluegrass, but certainly something that we're finding this morning. Same thing goes for southern Kentucky as well. These storms have died out a little bit as they work their way toward Lake Cumberland, but it's the potential that these thunderstorms bring with this cold front heading into the afternoon today that brings with it the chance for flash flooding. Remember, we have warm, moist air in place over the bluegrass, but with cooler air coming in from the north, those two air masses don't tend to get along. That's what you need for thunderstorm development, and that's what we're already looking at out west. That will work its way closer to the bluegrass as we get into the afternoon and early evening hours. And you'll see that here on the hour-by-hour forecast. Those thunderstorms we're finding right now, just the appetizer to what we're looking at as we head into the middle of our day today. Look what happens as we get closer to the middle of the day. That large swath of moisture setting up across the bluegrass, and that's mainly for central Kentucky at this time. But as we get into the second half of the day, watch as that swath just moves south and sits in place over southern and southeastern Kentucky. Remember, Clay County and most southern Kentucky spots saw 2 to 3 inches of rain in about an hour or two on Thursday. So a little more rainfall, pretty much the last thing that we need for flash flooding, and it certainly looks like that could be the case here moving forward on Saturday. Hence why we are under a First Alert Severe Weather Day. Moving into Sunday, the chance for active weather pretty much sits along the southern edge of the state and into Tennessee. Most of us actually clearing out really nicely moving into Sunday. Easily looking like the best looking and feeling day of the next few, because we're right back to the stormy pattern on Monday. As for the greatest risk area for flash flooding goes, as I touched on, it's south of I-64. we're looking at spots like Clay County, Rockcastle, Madison, Mercer, Boyle counties. All of these areas under greatest risk for flash flooding, potentially the greatest of the risk, looking like the southeastern spots that have already seen flash flooding over the past several weeks. As you move north, though, that risk does drop off a little bit. But regardless, when you start seeing a lot of heavy rainfall in a short period of time, flooding certainly becomes possible. And again, that is why we are under a first alert severe weather day moving forward. Moving into Sunday, it certainly looks like a nice break for us all as the humidity breaks and the temperatures are right around normal. Tomorrow looking like the best day of the bunch, especially for the storms that we're likely to find through most of our day today. If you're heading to any outdoor events out there, just be sure to bring an umbrella or jacket with you just in case, as we are looking at the potential for those thunderstorms kicking off here in the next few hours. And if you're heading to Walking Dead Day and you plan on really decking out in all that Walker makeup, just be sure that you have that umbrella. You don't want all that work to go to waste, especially with the heavy rain on the way.
Poor Sean Moody needs an umbrella. I'm spilling my water all over him.
We roll with it. We roll with it.
And they're walkers, huh? Not zombies?
No.
Okay,
walkers.
good to learn.
Or roamers, as they say in the graphic novel.
Okay.
Yeah, showing my geek side for you.
Wealth of Walking Dead knowledge right here.
There you go.
He's our official consultant. Thanks, Mike.
So a Kentucky coffee shop is making your morning cup of joe an art form. And they're looking to perfect the formula to maximize customer experience.
A Good Folks Coffee Company in Louisville is experimenting with different tastes, different flavors to create an experience you just can't beat. They get their coffee from around the world trying to brew that perfect cup for good folks. The shop might be tucked away in a small neighborhood, but it's making a big impact.
We're taking different blends and trying to match the profiles for what our customers' needs are. And then we're taking the single origins and saying this is just the way this coffee tastes. We have this much of it, and once it's gone, it's gone.
Good Folks Coffee uses technology to help them brew that perfect cup. It doesn't hurt that they also have a master roaster on hand. They also have started a subscription service where you can get freshly roasted coffee as many times during the month as you can handle. It might be a couple times a day for me, actually.
Yes, and we will try those right here, right now.
I wish.
On WKYT this morning.
Yeah, I would totally be up for that.
Yes.
It is 7:45 on your Saturday.
More news when we come back.
Good morning. I'm Bill Bryant. Getting more Kentuckians into good jobs. Labor Secretary Derek Ramsey talks about apprenticeships. A clip from Kentucky Newsmakers coming up.
Coming up, we'll have the day's headlines, plus altering your vote. In a year where everything seemed to get hacked, there's now increased concern about the safety of electronic voting machines. We'll take a look.
Plus, with the Olympics now underway, meet an American who hopes to make history in his sport. To one of the fastest kayakers in the world.
And it was a birthday party like no other. Aaron Neville celebrated his 75th this week with a concert and a great new album. We'll sit down with him and we'll take you to a special performance in our Saturday session.
All that plus your eye-opener, comedian David Cross, and The Dish just ahead on CBS This Morning, Saturday.
Good morning. I'm Bill Bryant. We hope you're enjoying your weekend. Kentucky Labor Secretary Derek Ramsey is a former UK All-American and pro football player who says his goal is to get more people earning more money in the Commonwealth while also keeping them safe on the job. Ramsey appears with me on this weekend's Kentucky Newsmakers.
There's 1.9 million people that go to work every day, and our job is to ensure that they, just as they went in healthily, we want them walking out the same way. So that's a big part of it.
So they really depend on your cabinet to enforce the rules. And what is your goal in that regard?
Well, you know, we enforce the rule, but what we're going to take more of a lighter approach on this thing. We want to educate people because, as you mentioned, we're also compliance as well. And so rather than fining people, we're going to educate them to ensure that our folk know what to do day to day so that they can come back home healthy.
Is it often the responsibility of the employees as well as the employers to say, this is an issue we really need to take a look at?
Absolutely, and that's where a lot of unions come into play. They're the folk that ensure that they're safe. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's our job to ensure that they're safe. And where they aren't safe, then that's where compliance comes in.
And so that's when you get a call, and your cabinet responds. And,
Absolutely.
And how do you do that? How do you go try to work out an issue when there is something going on between management and labor?
Well, we have a group of inspectors, and their responsibility is to go to the businesses on a regular basis to find out what's going on. There are inspections that are done, and then after that, in some cases where we miss some things or someone happens to get injured, unfortunately, they'll then contact our office, and then we'll send our investigators out to see what's going on.
Has your cabinet been affected by some of the new rules that have come down from Washington regarding, who is management, who is to be paid, in what way?
Well, that's OSHA, and those are the guys that determine a lot of what we do, and certainly they partially fund us. But at the end of the day, a lot of regulations are set forth out on the national stage, and then we just have to comply.
Is your finding early on that most Kentucky workplaces are safe and that most companies want to have healthy workers?
Absolutely. They want to have healthy workers. The national average, and I think I'm right, I think it's about 4.8 per thousand. And our number is right about there, and actually it's below there. And so, but we're still trying to get better. We're not going to be satisfied until we're at 100%, where every worker that goes in comes out that way.
We have many Kentuckians whose skill set does not match the jobs that are available. They have made choices in their educations or in their training that has not gotten them to the point that they're able to fill a lot of jobs that are available out there at this point. You're working on an apprenticeship program that you say is designed to address that.
I think it's designed for the state of Kentucky, actually. As you look at where we are educational-wise, for example, 60% of our young people go into college each year. They graduate from high school. Only 20 of that 60% goes on to graduate, so there are a lot of opportunities. There's another group out there between the age of 18 and 64, to be exact, over 350,000 of them. And these people do not have a GED, nor do they have a high school diploma. Now, to be eligible for the apprenticeship, all you need is a GED.
And Secretary Ramsey talks extensively about the apprenticeship program on Kentucky Newsmakers, and you can also hear about UK Hospital getting a top ranking. Kentucky Newsmakers airs tomorrow morning at 6 on WKYT. It repeats tomorrow at 10 a.m. on the CW Lexington. Set your DVR or catch it then. I'm Bill Bryant. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to WKYT this morning.
One Pokemon Go player in Minnesota says he almost sold his account for $15,000.
Yeah, unbelievable. Adrian Allen downloaded Pokemon Go the day it came out. 19 days later, he hit, walking 9 miles a day, might add, hit level 30. He was told to try and sell his account, so he put it on eBay, and yes, someone spent $15,000 to buy it. But there are rules about this kind of thing. eBay blocked the transaction. It violates the terms of use for Pokemon Go. Allen says he still plays the game, even though he tried to sell his account.
What?
15 grand.
So why would one buy that? What do they get from
That way
it?
you don't, so you don't have to do all the work to get all the
Well, you're level
What's
30,
the point?
you have higher level Pokemon. I mean, it's
No, what's the point, really?
So you're level 30, you get higher level Pokemon. I mean, there's not much to it, but I mean, it's
worth
like
a lot for
Sean
some
said,
people.
a lot of legwork, quite literally. But as far as the work that Mother Nature is going to do today in the bluegrass, it could be troublesome for quite a few of us with the potential for flash flooding, especially southern and southeastern Kentucky. Thunderstorms likely to begin to pop up here over the next few hours and become a bit more organized as we head into our afternoon. Take it safe out there, especially if you're heading to Walking Dead Day in Harrison County.
Thanks for joining us. Have a good one.
Have a great Saturday, everybody.